Welcome to Flair for Flows. My name is Aliona and you're watching a talk show where we discuss everything but relationships. As society evolves, so do our perceptions on the gender roles, and it's crucial to understand how these two energies, feminine and masculine, influence our relationships. We live in quite conflicting time where people tend to get confused about who does what. Therefore, today's topic is an exploration of the delicate dance of masculine and feminine energies and in our partnerships. So I'm extremely excited to have a conversation with our today's guest experts on this quite provoking subject. Welcome, Kanupriya Saraf, energy healer and spiritual entrepreneur. Thank you for joining me today, Kanupriya. How do you feel?
I feel good, and as I spoke to you earlier as well, that I love the topic that you have selected for today's interview. I think everybody can really gain a lot from the topic today.
Absolutely, I truly believe in that because we know that about little bits maybe about the masculine and feminine energies, and in the majority of cases we believe that around 80% of the feminine energy the woman has, and about maybe they carry about 20% of the masculine energy, and the same goes for the male parts. So they carry about 80% of masculine energy and 20% of feminine energy. That's what we tend to believe, but of course there is some kind of the disbalance and the proportions can vary. But to begin with, I would like to ask you, what does it mean overall to have these masculine and feminine energies, why they're so important and how they can influence our relationships?
So masculine and feminine energies, basically in spirituality, we call it duality, that everything on this earth, everything at a human level exists in twos. There's like yin and yang, yes. There's masculine and feminine energies. So while these energies don't exist at a much higher soul level, so there's no such thing as a man or woman, it is more the soul as a substance. But at the personality level, yes, we do have these energies and they do play a very important role because it kind of sums up and makes us who we are. And while, I just want to mention it here, what you talked about, that I don't want to put a percentage that a woman has 80% more feminine or a man has 80% more masculine. It can really vary based on also the archetype that we are born with, Okay. So let's say if there is somebody who's born with a leadership archetype, even a woman with a leadership archetype will generally, maybe will have the masculine energy of a man being a leader. Or if a man is generally born with, with a sensitive temperament, yes. He will generally, fall in the category of being more feminine, even though he could have, masculine energies as well in him. So I do think that, while we are talking about masculine and feminine energies, it's about our inborn personality and human temperament that we are born with as well, that really plays a role with what type of energy we're inherently carrying.
I see, I totally understand. And I also believe that, yes, it's something that you mentioned we're born with, but it can be evolving, it can be changing, and we can, I believe, to work on the balance in them as well. And there are lots of course, conditions where it can be presented. And if we talk about our modern world, it's in a way the success-driven world. So it's I guess the dominant energy there will be the masculine energy, and unfortunately the women also falling under that. So considering the fact that we are in this fast moving and fast changing society where we are all looking for the success, where this balance, it's affecting our relationships and the balance of the masculine and feminine energies?
Yes.
How it's affecting?
Yes, very rightly, like you said, that, women have become more career driven and success driven, and it is draining them out as well, because a woman is, the feminine is supposed to rest and procreate and be playful. They're the creative ones, they're the ones, the nurturing ones. And when they are always out there, earning money for themselves, protecting themselves, and sometimes they're protecting themselves against their own male partner as well, which really makes them take on the role of a masculine. And I think at a society level, definitely, which is happening at some level, that, the masculine, with women empowerment happening, with the masculine having to become more educated on even doing the duties that they need to do, so that it allows the feminine to rest. I mean, from my own experiences, and from what we read everywhere, and what we hear our friends and family talk about, that one of the reasons women is going out there and has become success driven, one is because of financial independence that it gives her, because she felt controlled by the masculine. And the second is, even if it's not the financial independence, it's a way of proving her worth or her intelligence to the masculine, that, hey, I'm not dumb because I'm not going out there and having a career. And I think I would definitely say that, the new ways that the families are forming, the masculine definitely have to take a role and value women for their strengths and what they're good at, rather than it being a competition between, hey, you cannot do this, so you're less intelligent than me, because then it makes the woman get competitive and want to go out there and prove herself. And she doesn't need to do that, because then it puts her in a masculine state. Absolutely. And then the man gets repelled by that masculine.
So do gender stereotypes, they are in a way limiting our abilities to express our authentic selves and keep the balance of the masculine and feminine in the relationships?
Yes, definitely. Gender stereotypes, they do kind of put us in a box to behave a certain way, even if that's not what you feel. And that is one of the reasons that a lot of people are not very attuned to their body's wisdom and how they're feeling. So if a man, let's say, or even if it's a boy, a teenager, he wants to cry, he will not cry, but his body is asking him to cry. He would maybe, release that emotion in a different way, and sometimes it's in an unhealthy way. And that's why we see that, the cases of men wanting to, I would say under 18-year-olds, wanting to have sex, wanting to release their energy in different ways, is increasing by every year, because there's no way that if you try to put the emotions in a box, it's going to come out in some way and it's going to be negative. And all kinds of crimes are going to happen as well. So yeah, gender stereotypes never really work, and sooner or later, it leads to suppressed emotion. I mean, if I talk about my own father, because I work in this space, I can read him, I can read his true personality.
Okay.
But that's not how he was, all the years that I know when I was growing up, he was a man full of anger. And that's because, and I've never seen my father cry. He's 69 years old. I have never seen him cry even once. And you can imagine that how much pain he's holding on to. And then pain and sadness turns into anger. And on the other hand, I've seen my mother crying a lot. So I always saw that imbalance of emotions and you can say the masculine and feminine energies and the suppressed emotions happening a lot, that one person is suppressing their crying and then the other person is crying more than they're supposed to. So it's not working for either of them.
I see. And you said very interesting facts that our bodies are showing, like they are actually giving that hint that we want to release that emotions, but because we are blocking them, it can go towards a different direction. But can you tell me please more? I'm very fascinating. What can be the other signs of our body telling that we need to release these emotions, and like let them go, but we don't do it? Like what can be the other signs of that?
So some of the other signs, I would say, you'll find yourself clenching your hands and feet, like it's like anxiety, or sometimes you're trying to control something. Check with your breathing pattern. If you're breathing very heavily, like you can put one hand on your chest, and if you're breathing very heavily, again, it's your body asking you to slow down. It's a pacing heart. check in with your stomach. You can have, sometimes we have acidity, or we just want to run to the toilet, or we have constipation, or just like, sometimes people call it butterflies in the stomach, but it's actually anxiety. And again, there are loads of other things that your body, the way the body talks to you, even in your groin, in your pelvic area, if you're very fearful, if you're very scared, you will find yourself just squeezing it really tight. So these are some of the ways. And since we're in a very open-minded society, another thing that's been commonly happening, and I've had clients coming to me, male clients coming to me and opening up about this topic, is wanting to masturbate a lot. Because they're not able to release, they're not people who want to opt for infidelity and they're in committed relationships, but they don't know how to release their anxiety and their stress, and they're just masturbating a lot and they don't know what to do. That's another way your body is telling you that, hey, you got to work on your emotions.
Okay, so how interesting, our body and emotions, like it's so connected and giving us so many signs, but unfortunately we are not tend and used to try to self-analyze and ask so many deep questions where it comes from. So, but it's a very good point. Thank you for sharing it. And from the gender stereotypes, which, okay, it can be in a way maybe slightly harmful, but not extremely harmful. There is something that I believe that can be more dangerous is when we talk about toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. It's when this kind of the stereotypes of the genders, like they are over exaggerated, and where yes, the man, like he has to completely exclude anything related to feminine energy from him, so he has to be very rough, show zero emotions at all. And maybe it's like you gave the example of your father, and the also the toxic femininity, where women has to be so submissive and quiet, silent, and don't like as well, like also dependent on men. So can it also, like, in which way what's the danger behind it, how it's affecting our relationships when we are experiencing the toxic masculinity and femininity in relationships?
So I always say that the first relationship that we have is our relationship with ourselves. And if we are too much in one energy, so when I say we have a good relationship with ourselves, which means we are in a balanced relationship with ourselves to be able to have a balanced relationship with a man or a woman. But when we are imbalanced from within, which means the masculine and feminine energy within us is imbalanced from within, which means there's too much masculine and too little feminine. I mean, of course, your inner world is a reflection of your outer world, and your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So when I am imbalanced from within, I'm going to have that imbalanced relationship with my partner as well. And which means that most likely, if I'm too much in my masculine, I'm going to attract a partner who might be too much in their feminine.
Okay.
Because masculine and feminine are polar energies.
Yeah.
And then if I'm too much in my feminine, I might attract a partner who's too much in his masculine, which you just talked about, that which can also lead to a patriarchal way of relationship, or the man dominating the woman too much. Or if the man is too much in his feminine, he will attract a woman who is very much in her masculine, and then it would cause relationship imbalances. I mean, again, another example I would give of a client is a client had no intimate life because the man said that my wife doesn't allow me to come close to her. And
like
of
no
course,
touch, no hug, no kiss. Oh my God.
None of that. And I mean, of course, I could tell that he was a feminine man. Not that he was a bad guy, but he was feminine. And whatever, when I met his wife, she was very masculine in her energies. And now sometimes I think it's not about whose fault it is, but I also saw that the culture that they came from was like that, where the woman takes the lead. But in such situations, it's sometimes the energies play a more dominant role over the culture, and we have to work with the energies rather than cultural upbringing.
Yeah.
And to really manifest a good intimate relationship with our partner, because if you're working with the culture, it's not keeping the balance in the masculine feminine energies, and then that's again causing relationship problems.
Of course, I see. I will come to the point of discussion of the balance of the energies, but before that, I'm curious as well to know that you mentioned that in the majority of cases, if I have the more feminine energy, I will attract the more masculine energy. But in your experience, when you meet the couples who has both more into feminine energy or more into masculine energies, what's the dynamic in this kind of the relationships?
Okay, so yeah, that's a very good question. I've seen that. I think they're more like friends then.
Right.
And I think okay, I know like saying friends is it's a very broad term, but I would normally say if it's two people are more masculine or two people are both more feminine, I think it's also about what they want out of the relationship. Sometimes somebody's just looking for a companion. They're not looking for any intimacy. They're not looking to be wooed. They're not looking to go out on dates. They're just looking to have a life partner. And it works well for them then.
Works, all right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But again, saying that, there would always be one person who's has a more masculine energy than the other, or who has a more feminine energy than the other. That's just how it is.
Okay, the majority of cases, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I see, yes. But talking about the balance, I think that's something very complicated topic, because also we live in a very dynamic world, and especially if we are taking into consideration the place where we live right now, like Dubai and United Arab Emirates, it's such a vibrant city and such a vibrant lifestyle where it's like keep on going non-stop. And in the majority of cases when I'm being asked like how I define the life in Dubai, my answer is always that I don't feel how the days are flying, because they literally go so fast, and it changes, it's evolving, it changes. So is it applicable to our energies as well? Like they keep in this like flux and dynamic states. Do they keep on evolving and adapting to the moment, or we need to slow ourselves down regardless what's happening in the outer world and try to balance ourselves, or we need to keep adapting our energies as well?
I mean, self-awareness and self-reflection is definitely very important, because of the fast-paced life, it happens, we go out of alignment. We need to constantly rebalance ourselves on a regular basis before it can lead to burnout, or before it leads to a bigger imbalance, which just takes longer and more energy from us to correct. So yeah, I think we need to have the self-awareness, but be able to continuously adapt to changes in environment as well. Let's say if there's a woman, even if she was more in her femininity, and now she's at a point in life where she really has to go out there, move to a new country, work in a new office, and then adapt to that culture, adapt to that new environment. She will have to adapt herself maybe to be more active, because a feminine is passive, whereas a masculine is more active. She will have to actively create a new life in that city, and it will increase her masculine energy for sure. But there are still ways that she can still be grounded in her feminine, and consciously she can bring herself back to that slowly, as life settles down.
I see.
I think having that adaptability is very important given today's day and age, because we don't always have a man protecting us. We have to protect ourselves.
Absolutely, we have to rely on ourselves as well, not just on men. But that's true. It's like keep evolving, keep changing. And what I find another change in the modern world is that in many relationships it becomes like a competition and this power struggles that we are not competing just at work, but we also start to compete with our partners, with our love partners. And that's kind of like strange for me, but it's happening a lot around. And I'm wondering, in this case, can it be healthy. And what I mean by that, for example, we know that creativity is the feminine energy. So maybe with this power struggle, like it will be also healthy for the male partner to get this creativity from women, and the opposite, leadership and again the success drive, it's the masculine energy, and maybe in some cases women need that. So this power fights in relationships, can they be healthy in some case?
I think power struggles are maybe good very temporarily. They're definitely not good in the longer term because they can again drain you. One of the foundations of a healthy relationship is trust. So as long as the couple has the trust within each other, power dynamics will very quickly fade away, even if they're there. And when it comes to the power dynamics, again, going back to the archetype, if the woman is of a Raven archetype, which means that she is born with, the focus, the drive, the speed, the discipline, the leadership qualities, which she's naturally born with, let's say, let's talk about a lot of women prime ministers and presidents around the world. They're naturally born with that. Yes, power struggles are more possible in such relationships. But then as long as both the man and the women are very anchored in who they are and how they have the self-awareness on how to work with each other, and they truly love each other and they trust each other, power struggles can easily be conquered, and actually they can become a power couple.
So yes, they can actually bring that, it can become their superpowers in a way, maybe. So it can work, right?
Exactly, it can, yeah.
I see, that's very interesting. And so I think another fascinating topic as well, and I've been talking a lot during the talk shows about that, about another buzzword that we use a lot is red flags. And we talk about red flags on the first date, on the second date, on the third date, and so on. So it never stops. So if we're talking about masculine and feminine energies, are there as well some red flags, what we can see in our partners, this imbalance, so that we have to pay attention and ring a bell and do something about that?
Yes, so let's say if, talking from a man's point of view, if he's going out to date a girl, and if the woman is being, first of all, of course, it first starts with the man knowing himself, and does he even really have a good assessment of red flags? Sometimes I find these days in the dating world that people tend to overthink a lot because they don't want to get it wrong. Exactly. So they're just overthinking these red flags as well. The second thing is having a very good communication. Personally, I focus more on a person with a good communication, which has nothing to do with masculine and feminine energies. So if you're going out on a date, whether it's a guy or a girl, and they're good communicators, I think most of the red flags can be addressed, and you can find an answer if this person is suitable for me or not. When it comes to a man looking for red flags in a woman, that if she's more masculine or definitely, things like is she always wants to have the last word. So you'll come across sometimes women that anything you say, they have to talk back, or they have to prove that they have an answer for that, And that is really a woman not being in her feminine state. Even if she has the wisdom, even if she has the knowledge, sometimes it's just good to just be receptive and not always be in a state to prove that, hey, I know more than you, or I know it all. I think because that can normally in the longer term lead to an argument. And this, of course, I'm talking from a healed and a healthy masculine energy, that if he goes on a date like that. And I think from a feminine point of view, if a woman is going on a date with a man, and one of the red flags that she can see with a man is if the man is being too controlling about everything.
Okay.
I think that is a wounded masculine, and then eventually he's going to control, the woman as well, and not just controlling, but also being dependent on the woman. We talked about the woman being dependent on the man, but these days I see a lot that because a lot of men are very emotionally congested because of their childhood, when they're going out on a date, they're looking for way too much emotional support from the women.
Okay.
And then the woman is like, oh my God, I don't want that. You need to fix your emotions. So that's a wounded masculine.
Yeah.
That's not a healed masculine. And if she enters into a relationship with this man, it's going to be a lot of emotional turmoil.
Okay, so it's become very dangerous for relationships in a way.
Yes, yes. It's a chaotic relationship for sure.
Okay, so anyway, I believe that in order to balance our energies, it's all starts from ourselves. It's from self-love and self-acceptance to reach that true balance. And can you there is of course the what's related to masculine and feminine energies, it's completely divided, and we can name these features, but you said the women afraid of the man's emotion, but if there is something that women see these features, the main features of the masculinity in man, that she will know that that's the right partner, and same for man, if he sees these features in woman, that he can say that can be the right woman for me. So what's that maybe two main features the men and women they're looking in their partners?
Okay, I love this question. I think a healed or a semi-healed masculine or an awakened masculine, one is he would have a very strong sense of stability, and when you're around him you will feel very grounded and you will feel very secure. Now, I don't mean that you need a man to make you feel secure, but you will just feel more secure than what you were before.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things. And the second thing is, when you have that masculine around you, your feminine energy will come out even more. It will happen as a result of that. So you will feel like flowing and dancing, and you will feel relaxed automatically. That's when you will know that it's a healthy masculine.
Yes, I see. That's very interesting. Yes, and when I was chatting with some of my friends and with the male part, it was very interesting. He was saying that when I'm coming, I'm always problem solver in a way in my work, and I'm bringing that perception to home as well. And my girlfriend, she's coming and she's starting to tell what's the stories were happening, and she was complaining about something, and I'm like, do this, let's change that. And it's I'm giving the solutions, and she's like, no, but I just want you to listen to me. You need to change my mood, but not the mind. So for me, that's what's gonna work. So I know that there is a solution, but I want just to be heard. But I don't need any actions immediately.
Exactly.
Starting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And of course, you are spiritual entrepreneur, right? So talking about spiritual or metaphysical beliefs, do they play any particular roles in our feminine and masculine energies?
Yes, I mean, we are all spiritual beings at the end of the day, right? And we are metaphysical beings. And one of the things, I talked about at the beginning of this interview was that at the soul level, we are basically an energy. There is no divide of masculine and feminine. And in spirituality, when we talk about the yin and yang, there is, with the spiritual beliefs, there is, of course, a masculine and feminine energy within all of us. And there are even these energy pathways and meridians in the body, which called Ida and Pingala, which represent masculine and feminine energy, because everything exists in duality. So at an energy level, yes, that is really how it is. And if we see the physical bodies of a man and woman, they are a representation of the feminine and the masculine energies, So it's designed in such a way.
I see. But now I want to jump from the theory to practice. So, are there any specific exercise or practices that we can balance our feminine and masculine energies? And if so, can we do some? Can we practice some?
Okay, yeah. Lovely. What energy of yours would you like to balance? So we'll do that.
Okay, I believe that.
Okay, you know what? Let's do a check. How do we know which energy of ours is more? Yeah.
Okay. I'm very curious.
So I just want that you close your eyes first.
All right.
And I want you to breathe. You can put your fingers like this on your nose. Like this.
Okay.
And just see how are you breathing from your left nose. Just breathe normally. Just feel the air coming in and out as if your right nose is closed.
So just breathe from the left one.
Yeah. But don't do deep breathing, just normal breathing.
Okay.
And now do the same from the right nose. So you can use your other hand. Close the left nose. And from which nose do you find it easier to breathe?
I think from the right one.
Yeah, I thought so. I think all of us. So the right nose is the masculine energy. This is the Pingala. And this is the Ida Nadi, or the energy pathway. This is the feminine energy. So the left nostril breathing is for feminine energy, and the right nostril breathing
so that means
is for...
that in me, the dominant will be the masculine energy.
Yes, and it's because of the active lifestyle that we have.
Okay.
We're always active.
Yeah.
So our natural tendency has been that we are more active with our right breathing as well, which means we are more active with aggression and all things masculine.
I see.
So
Yes.
normally in this case, what it is to do, breathe, maybe even if it's 3 minutes of breathing from the left nostril, so that we become calmer. Where you close the right nostril and just breathe through the left nostril. And then when you're done doing this for 3 minutes, you will automatically feel more balanced.
Oh, and how often should we repeat this exercise?
It's generally a good exercise to do every day because it decongests all your sinuses, all your energy pathways, and it balances it. But it's good to do a check which energy is imbalanced and then do the breathing accordingly.
Okay, so I believe it's one of the many exercises, right? It's not the one that's after 5 minutes of the day it just heals. I think it's quite a long process. And
yeah,
what can be your advice for those who find it's maybe challenging in embracing and celebrating either their feminine or masculine energy? Because again, we're dependent in the society, and sometimes we feel it's quite challenging to show ourselves. So what can be your advice for us all in our energies?
I think I would say that if anybody is having challenges in celebrating their energies, which means celebrating really who they truly are, is to work with a certified healer or a life coach to understand themselves why this is happening, where those challenges are coming from. Is it something, when you work with a life coach, can you improve it even by 20%, 50%? How can you make those changes in your own lifestyle, whether it's exercise, your own personality, any hobbies, that you have to balance those energies from within. I know that, we all have work demands and family demands, and then we don't have enough time. But I always say that prevention is better than cure. So it's always better to work on your energies sooner rather than later, because a lot of times it can create problems. Like for women, it can have maybe problems in the ovaries in the future, or hormonal issues, let's say, because it's congesting their hormones if you're not being who you are. For men, it can be men's health related issues. So just work on your energy sooner rather than later and bring it in a more balanced state.
Thank you, Kanupriya. As rightly said, just to summarize, then we work, what I truly understand right now, that if we work and balance our feminine and masculine energies, it's not only going to give us the healthy, balanced lifestyle, healthy, balanced relationships, but it's basically will open so many doors for us, whether it's personal or career-wise. So it's basically the that's optimal solution for all the spheres of our life. That's right. Thank you, Kanupriya. It's been a lovely conversation. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience, and we will see you next Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.